and welcome to the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for May 25th, 2021. First off, we have a canceled public hearing this evening. The Gurney's Inn and Resort Spa will not be heard this evening. Council, do we have a date for that? I believe it's that
I believe we're July
22nd, 27th, is that it?
7th, yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on along with our next scheduled public hearing. That hearing is, the applicant here is Natina Antonou and John Devaney. And the lot size and location is 38,367 square feet at 49 Sammys Beach Road in East Hampton, tax map number 300-56-1-18. The description is to clear a pathway through dune land between the house and the driveway to allow an existing slate walkway to remain within 100 feet of dune crest and to allow an existing shed to remain and to plant some native species within a dune land area. The relief sought is a natural resource special permit pursuant to 255-4-40 and one variance from 255-4-40 coastal setbacks. A 65-foot variance is required to allow a stone patio of varying widths to remain at its closest 45 feet from the dune crest, where 100 feet is required. This is an A2 residence zone. The flood zone is X, and the secret class is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
Chair, we have a affidavit that the mailings were done on the 12th of May and that the posting was done on the 12th of May. So the paperwork appears to be in order.
Okay, thank you.
Recording in progress.
Are we all good, LTV? I guess we're good. I just got some.
Yes, it's a new thing. We have to consent to being recorded. So I have consented on behalf of the board.
Right. So this is in board members, Brenneman's East Hampton District. Tim, do you have a field report, please?
I do, Mr. Chairman, and Eleni will be bringing up the report shortly. So this, as mentioned, is on Sammys Beach Road. We're all familiar with that location. The property was posted properly when I was there yesterday. There are a number of structures and things mentioned in the TAM and also in the applicant's letter, which was received on May 5th. And I'll try to make reference to a number of those as we sort of stroll around the property here. So next photo, please. So now I'm facing north. That is the driveway that you see on the survey. And then the house behind, and then of course, Gardner's Bay behind that. Next photo. Now, I'm stopped. I've kind of moved to directly behind the car now, again, facing north. This path that you see winding in front of you is actually the path, the proposed path that is on the survey. I should say that I also met the applicant at the home, and she was nice enough to kind of give me a walk around to better orient myself. Also, directly in front of the house is one of those areas that Eleni makes reference to as being substantially bare and cleared. And if you are to look at the applicant's letter dated May 5th, you will see a number of areas planned to be revegetated. And you can see probably 6 of those areas just from this photo alone. So next photo. Okay, so now I'm in that same position in the front of the property. I've turned to the east, and I am looking at the shed. I'll eventually work my way back to the shed again. But as you can see, it is well sheltered really difficult to see both from the road as well as from the driveway. So really quite well positioned where it is there. The next photo. Okay, so now directly in front of the house, again, you can see the path directly in front of us working toward the first door. Again, that is the proposed path that would be a stone path. And in fact, if you look to the right of this photo, you can see the blue stone patio that's sort of, there are blue stone pieces that are scattered about there. The applicant's plans are to use that blue stone as a stepping stone down from the driveway to the house. Next photo. Okay, so now I'm standing in the same position. I've moved slightly to the east, and I'm picturing here the enclosure which has the utility tank that's referenced in the TAM. That's not part of this application, but because it was referenced, I thought I would specifically capture that and its location. Again, directly in front of me is an area that is being proposed to be revegetated. Next photo. Now I've gone up onto the front step of the house. I've turned back and now I'm facing south, looking back out toward the driveway. And again, you can see the vague outline of the path that is being proposed to be bluestone steps between the patio, or between the front steps and the driveway. Next photo. Now I've turned to the my immediate right, and this was designed to get a first glimpse of the stone that runs around the perimeter of the house. This is ultimately where we have a variance, and there's reference to it being varying widths, and you'll see in some of the next photos that case. There is also a letter in the file from the immediate neighbors who occupy the Conklin Trust building, and that is it that we're looking at right now. So that is right in front of us. Next photo. Okay, so now I'm walking around and facing north again, right side of the building, and again, just picturing the bluestone walking path that's around the perimeter of the residence. Next photo. This is another shot of the utility tank, the enclosure that's protecting that tank. Next photo. Okay, so now I'm in the back of the property facing Gardner's Bay. On the survey, you'll see the stone patio that is indicated that the applicants plan to remove. And this is a picture of that patio. Next. Now I've just walked out to that patio, turned to the back of the home, and again you see the variety of different widths of the bluestone that go around the perimeter of the house. Next photo. Now this is immediately north of the bluestone that is going around the perimeter. You can see that there's been some beach grass that's been planted here. The applicants, I'm sure, will speak to this, but they report that it's been quite robust in terms of its growth. And I believe the plan will be to continue this as part of the replenishment of that stone patio that will be removed, which would be just out of sight of this particular photograph. Next photo. Okay, so now I've just turned around, and again, now I'm looking back along the left side of the building. And again, just to give you a sense for that patio winding around the entire building. Next photo. You can see that there's a trail and then the scenic easement leading out to Gardiner's Bay. Really not here nor there, but it was a very pretty day, and I decided to include this as part of my photographic portfolio this evening. Next photo. Okay, so now I'm out sort of at the dune crest. I'm scanning to my left, so to the west, and that's the home immediately to the west. And then the next photo, I scan east. And again, this is the home where we received the letter of support from. Next photo. Now I've again walking to the east of the property, and you can see again some beach grass growing, and also I believe this area right beyond it is numbered number 2, and that's part of the revegetation plan that is part of the May 5th submittal. Next photo. And now I've walked all the way back out and took a closer and better shot of the shed. It is, I believe, 7 feet by 9 feet structure, manufactured material, and it's very well vegetated throughout there. I know there was a reference within the TAM about putting leaders and gutters, and some suggestion by the applicant that they feel like there may be more disruption done to try to do that than leaving it as is. You know, I would say that I understand the applicant's suggestion based on walking around that particular structure. So I think that may be the last photo, Eleni. It is.
Yes, that's the last photo.
Okay, so that's my field report.
Great, thank you, Tim. Excellent, as usual. Board members, any questions on Tim's field report?
No.
Okay, okay. Do we have the applicant or the applicant's agent here?
I am here, Dean Antonio.
Hello, good evening,
Hi.
and welcome. Are you an attorney?
No,
Okay, then I'm going to swear you in. If you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear, yes, I do.
Okay, good evening again, and go ahead, please.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the lovely synopsis. I couldn't have done a better job myself. Second of all, I just want to, I'll make this quick. I just want to say we love living at Sammy's Beach. So I've come to really appreciate and love the area, and just want to make things better. So originally when I started this plan, we moved onto the property and it was inundated by invasive weed. So our plan was to remove a lot of the bad stuff and just keep encouraging the good stuff. So we're interested in bringing in more native trees, my beach plums that I love so much, more native grasses, and just some plants to replant the front. As suggested by Eleni, we're looking at pulling the proposed plants from the native list. I've learned a lot over this past year of doing all this research. Completely on board with that. And again, everything we're looking to do is to enhance the property to be in tune with the native environment. We're seeking to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood, no detriment to neighboring properties. Really excited about the project. I do have, you know, a plan that outlines the different areas where I would put, you know, the different plants, but a lot of it, like the back area, I'm hoping it just comes in because that beach grass is just goes, which is fantastic. Secondly, as Elaine was here, she suggested that while I was at it, I permit the shed, which was not on the survey at the time. It's completely true. It was not on the property. So we added the shed. It's very useful to us. It houses the storm shutters for the house, the yard tools, recreational items, beach chairs, bikes, you know, the drill. We went with a pretty minimal size. It's pretty small. It's 9 by 7. We tucked it what we thought was a good distance from anything. It is in a very sheltered area. I am concerned about the request to add the excavation. There was a well for water, and I am concerned about having to excavate to add that. So happy to discuss, but hoping that the shed is small enough. She explained to me that the recommendations she made were for any structures. Hoping that due to the size, it'll be okay. I would really like to keep it. Again, it's a huge functional use for us. And yeah, that's what I have about to say about that. Finally, when I had talked to Elaine, when we purchased the house 3 years ago, we did not get a COO on the house. That was a whole nother story. I won't go there. Anyway, it was explained to me the reason why was because of the patio and the walkway around the house was not on the plans. So, you know, we took the house with the understanding that one day we would just have to pick it up or go through the paperwork to get it permitted. So I am using this opportunity, since I'm going through this process, to try and permit the walkway around the house. The walkway is pretty minimal. It's pretty abutted up against the house, so I'm hoping it's not going to be a problem. I understand that the patio in the back kind of juts into, you know, sensitive area. Willing to pick that up. And then I thought I would just use that stone because it's beautiful stone, completely great, and just line the front walkway. You know, we're, you know, walking through the sand at night when we get home. And so I thought we could just, you know, recycle, reuse. And again, it's just us picking up stone out of the sand and relocating it. So hoping it won't be any impact to the environment there, and that would be okay. And that, I believe, is the end of my presentation. There are questions?
Okay, thank you very much. Tim, you want to start off, Tim? Any questions, Tim?
No, I don't think that I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else on the board with any questions?
No.
No? Okay. Let's go to the, I don't have any as well, and thank you for that presentation. That's very clear. Let's go to the planning department. Now, Eleni, good evening, Eleni.
Good evening, Eleni Nicolopoulos from the Planning Department.
I'll go ahead and swear you in. Thanks. Eleni, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Great. Go ahead, please.
Hi. So I'll start by saying the Planning Department considers this to be a reasonable candidate for the variance requested. The applicant had originally submitted intending to remove some invasives and to do some planting with native species. It was noted during the review, as was discussed earlier, that the shed and the walkway were not on the previous CO and should be included with this application. We'll say that the Sammy's Beach Peninsula is a unique area of town, which is between and in close proximity to both 3 Mile Harbor and to the south and Gardner's Bay to the north. Because of its small width, close proximity to both water bodies, and its low-lying geography, it is a particularly sensitive area of duneland, which is especially susceptible to storm damage. And the board should note that it is within the 3 Mile Harbor Scenic Area statewide significance and part of the LWRP significant coastal fish and wildlife habitat. So all of that makes it that much important that a revegetation on this parcel would be very beneficial, especially in this area. The planning department does advise that any plantings that are done do remain wild and don't turn into a native garden. But it seems that the applicant does understand that. And the planning department would like to emphasize that that there should be no clearing on this parcel other than for the proposed walkway. It's something that the applicant is very well aware of. With the intention, she came in with the intention to revegetate and to plant. So that seems pretty much the intent here. If there are any questions?
Yeah, the shed, Lenny, is that in NRSP territory or it's outside of jurisdiction completely?
It is in NRSP because of the dune land. Because it's more than, so there is a wetland across the way over here that's 162 feet to the shed. But the entire parcel is within NRSP jurisdiction because the entire parcel contains dune land.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, board members? Okay, LTV, do we have anyone in the public who wishes to speak?
We do not, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. I think otherwise, board, if you have any other questions, I think.
Quick question for the applicant. It's just for the recommended project conditions in the TAM. You're agreeable to all of those? It sounds like you've been studying this, but the coastal erosion, the CHUP permit also?
Yeah, I've been going through everything.
Okay, thank you.
Clarification, I believe she did state earlier that the condition to have a catchment basin would be a concern of hers.
Yes, that is a concern.
Okay.
Note something on that as well, is that if this were not to be in an area of dune land, it's a very small shed. So it would, even if it were within 100 feet of a wetland, it could have qualified for, or within 150 feet of a wetland, sorry, it could have qualified for reduced jurisdiction. So that's something that the board should take note of because of its small size.
Thanks, Eleni. Thank you. Okay, if there are no further questions, Tim, would you like to close this out?
Sure. So in the matter of Natina and Tonu and John Devaney at 49 Sammys Beach Road, East Hampton, New York. Let's see, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-56-1-18. I make a motion to close the public hearing and to keep the public record open until 2 weeks after the transcripts have posted on the town website.
Concur.
I'll concur.
And I concur as well. Okay, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Eleni, and thank you for coming and representing your application.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You.
Bye.
Okay, we'll move on to the next hearing this evening. We have Barbara Rosecan is the applicant, and the lot size and location is 22,286 feet total at 313 Kings Point Road, Clearwater Beach, Section 1, filed 6/4/1957, map number 2715 in Springs, tax map number 300-24-1-8. And the description here is to relocate 22 linear feet of pool fencing and to allow wire fencing, 410 square feet of first and second floor decking, a 950 square foot slate patio, and slate paver walkway to remain on a parcel of land containing bluffs, beaches, and tidal wetlands. The relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-4-20 and 2 variances from 255-4-40 coastal setbacks of the town code and any other relief necessary. Variances of 75 feet and 31 feet are required to allow the wire fencing and decking respectively to remain 0 feet and 44 feet from the bluff crest where 75 feet is required. This zoning district here is a B residence zone. The flood zone is X and the secret class is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
An affidavit that the mailings went out on the 14th day of May and that the posting was done on the 14th day of May. So the paperwork appears to be in order.
Okay, thank you. And this is in board member This is in Board Member Delene's district. Vice Chair Delene's district. Roy, your field report, if you please.
Sure, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Was there visiting the site, and this is the photo for the posting, properly posted. And then I entered the site. If you look at the survey, the swimming pool, which is out of jurisdiction of the NRSP, is in front of the house. So we're going to take a walk around the house. You can see also the neighboring properties is highly screened. There's a picture overlooking the pool, the front of the house. Actually, front of the property is the water, so we can to the rear of the house, but from the street, it's the front. So this is the side of the house looking toward Gardeners Bay. And then I take a photo of the other side. This is the pool enclosure fence, and we're going to enter through that fence. And this is a photo of the rear of the house with the deck in question this evening. And in the background is Gardeners Bay, and you'll see the wire fence as well that we're going to be talking about tonight too. Again, both property lines are highly screened. Taking a look back at the house, you can see that the deck in question that we're talking about. Now, this is a photo of the crest of the bluff and the wire fence, and it's a little bit, in my perspective, it's a little bit more than a wire fence. There appears to be some vegetation and some protection. The owner, I did meet the homeowner there, and she referred to the reason that is there because the deer have been eating the vegetation, but I think we'll have a further discussion about it. Taking a look at the other direction along the beach, you can see as well. Now, taking a look at down the face of the bluff, down the stairs, and taking a look at the deck down below. On the survey, it says that that deck has existed, has not been changed since 1998. Just want to make sure that's part of that's approved deck. I believe it is. Now, this is the condition of the face of the bluff, and it appears from discussions with the applicant, there was a storm in February that did some severe damage on the face of the bluff, and you can see this is a volatile area. If you know, this is outlooking Lionhead Rock. You have nor'easters that actually slam this coastline and northwest winds in the wintertime. So it's a pretty volatile area. Taking a look at the other direction, you can see the neighboring properties are bulkheaded, and this property is not. This also bluff face did go through a recent bluff restoration, and again, you can see the damage that it has. That's the last photo I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Any questions, board members? No? Okay. Let's go to the applicants or their agents. Do we have Susan speaking first? Good evening, Susan.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, no, we can. It's kind of breaking up a little bit, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I might have to call in. I seem to be having a few difficulties, but let's see.
Well, we can try it out. I'll go ahead and swear you in, Susan, okay? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, please.
313 Kings Point Road. It is owned by Barbara Rosecan and David Bray. The property was purchased by Mrs. Rosecan and her late husband in 1996. At the time, the property had approvals in place by the previous homeowners to construct a first and a second floor addition with a deck on the front of the house or on the landward side of the house. After which there was no permanent activity until Sandy made it necessary for them to undertake a coastal restoration of the bluff face. So this evening's application, we're seeking approval for a wood deck on the water side of the house that is actually 660 square feet in total area. This represents a 298 square foot increase from the original first floor deck and a 110 square foot second level deck. The total new decking would be 410 square feet. This requires an NRSP and a variance of 31 feet. The second aspect would be a slate patio, which is 950 square feet. It is located on the landward side of the house, and this requires a natural resources special permit. The wire fence at the top of the bluff, as mentioned, was actually, it's actually more of a cage that was constructed during the restoration of the bluff. It's 5 feet in depth, I believe, and it's just to protect the plants. And I believe they are willing to remove it if we undertake a more extensive restoration plan there. The decking on the landward side of the house was constructed more than 20 years ago by Mrs. Rose Kent's late husband. The actual date is unknown. We assume it was undertaken approximately in 2000 as a repair project, which grew to accommodate the family's needs at the time. The previous deck was irregular in shape, and the goal was to square it off and connect it to an outdoor shower. That's on the side of the house. The current deck is 2.5 feet closer to the bluff as a result. As previously stated in the technical memo, this house was constructed in 1958 prior to the adoption of NRSP standards, and the expansion of 2.5 feet is minor, posing no detriment to the environment or the community. In fact, it's been there for more than 20 years with no measurable impact at all. The granting of such a variance implies no preconceived rights to the construction of an addition in this area for the residents at a later date. This is a logical location for an outdoor space, and it is quite consistent with the neighborhood. Viewing of aerial photos clearly demonstrate that in this neighborhood. Typically, this area used for outdoor living on waterfront parcels. This area is used for outdoor living on waterfront parcels, and allowing it to remain will cause no disturbance or disruption to any important natural features, nor will it cause a negative impact on groundwater or surface waters. It does not represent a measurable density increase, nor an intensity of use on the parcel. And the slate patio, which requires an NRSP, that has been constructed between the house and the swimming pool. It was in an area already disturbed. It had fertilized lawn and a driveway in this area previously. Its construction does not represent a disturbance or a disruption of natural features, and improvements of this type are very consistent with other properties in this neighborhood. In reviewing the planning department's recommendations, we don't have any objections to any of them. There's no filling or grading proposed as suggested in A, so the survey's accurate. The 15-foot vegetated buffer is acceptable. Declarations of covenants and restrictions, that's pretty standard. We understand that. The revegetation plan, I would like to ask the board to consider that the implementation of it be part of a CO rather than a building permit as it is written in the memo. That's so that this office can process them at the same time, and we can get our CO once the planting is actually done. Other than that, that's about the gist of the application, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Susan. Roy, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question regarding the buffer, the 15-foot buffer. Would that mean that the fence goes away, the cage goes away, and we have a properly revegetated buffer?
Yes, I think it would be wise to put a little bit of effort into picking, some plant material that would be more sustainable. There's quite a deer population there, and it's been very destructive, which is what caused the cages to be constructed to begin with. But I think we can work around that.
I don't have a whole lot of questions. I was curious by a statement in the TAM that says some of the work associated with the building permit appears to have been constructed within the Bluffs Tow jurisdiction. And notice with this application, is that to say that there was a building permit for those structures by mistake, or I'm not sure what that statement is, but we can ask the planning department as well to answer that.
Yeah,
I'm confused by that statement. Or was it outside, or was the work done outside of the building permit? Well, you know what I mean, separate,
So
beyond the building.
Yeah, there's an open building permit for the pool and the hot tub. We received it. I keep trying to move your screen up, and I realize I can't. There was also a permit for a shed Way, the wall, the pool.
Oh,
So in other words, the slate patio is more than what the building permit allowed?
And so that did get built afterwards. But the pool and everything else there is permitted.
Okay,
Oh, I think the walkway is the walkway that comes out of the patio and down to the driveway. Wide walkway. I think that's what they're referring to.
okay. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any questions? No?
None.
Okay, LTV, do we have anyone, any of the public wishing to speak?
You have 0 callers, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see, let's go to, oh, I'm sorry, I jumped out of order there. Michael, I apologize, Michael. Let's go to the planning department next. Good evening, Michael. Michael, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
Evening, board members. Mike DeLawlier for the planning department for the Rose Can application. Parcels, as we've heard, is located in Clearwater on the north side of Kings Point Road. The application is largely for this deck that was constructed without the appropriate approval sometime after the 98 issuance of the CO and the wire fencing and the pool fencing that are within jurisdiction. There also are, as Member Roy noted, some other structures that were constructed on the parcel. They lie within jurisdiction of the Bluff Toe. Back here, they are on the landward side of the residence in what would be a more conforming location on the property. The planning department wouldn't want to see any further development on the seaward side. As we know, and as you've noticed, the area is quite dynamic. They had a bluff restoration that appeared to be stable for 3 or 4 years. It looks like it got a big bite taken out of it this year. So enhancing the buffer will help protect the crest, stable, especially predominantly with woody vegetation, and at some point, potentially another restoration to help maintain the toe could be seen in the future. With that, I don't have too much on this application, or too much else rather. The residence was pre-existing non-conforming to, or pre-existing to the NRSP regulations in '84. One of the concerns is, that all of the structures to the rear that are within jurisdiction of the toe, they would be a good spot for a reasonable increase in the residents in the future. To help manage retreat. But with that, I really don't have too much on the application. I leave it myself open to any questions from the board members.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Board members?
Yeah,
Any
Michael, Roy had brought up the deck on the beach or at the toe of the bluff. Is that legal?
By all accounts, it was on COs previously, and it's visible in the older aerials. So it's our understanding that it is.
Okay, and now on this, there's a wire fence that goes around almost the whole property. How high is that wire fence? Is that the pool fencing, or how is that distinguished from the pool fencing?
The 6-foot pool fencing is just back here, basically at the jurisdiction of the setback boundary. The wire fence on either side of the parcel, I believe is 6 feet, but I'm not 100% on that.
And that's on the C of O also? C of O?
The one from 98, I don't believe included it. It's why it's included as part of this application.
Oh, it is included. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? Board members?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Michael, can you just clarify for us, in the TAM, you said that recently additional work has been completed in the swimming pool area, slate patio, slate pavers, and additional pool fencing. The hot tub is out and the pool and the driveway are out of jurisdiction. Exactly what portion on the northern side are we concerned with at this time, or on the northern side, I'm sorry, on the landward side, on the road side?
In the sketch associated with the application, I sketched on the approximate location of what the bluff toe jurisdictional line would be. Obviously this isn't, survey accurate by any stretch of the imagination. But so it is this large slate area. It is an increased amount of coverage in the area. It has been previously cleared for a long time. But it's roughly this section, and including the slate pavers and a few of the other changes. There have been building permits issued.
And that walkway that is, you just referenced, that's really stepping stones. Am I correct? That's stone set in the grass setting. It's not anything set in a bed of gravel. It's not
Correct. To my knowledge, it's just set in stone in the ground.
Yeah, they're just stepping stones as they walk down. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? No, and LTV, no one on the line from the public?
Still 0, thank you.
Okay. Susan, a closing comment?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, sure, Ed.
I'm sure that when Susan was making her presentation, I heard her say that the recommendation of adding the 15-foot buffer at the crest of the bluff was acceptable to the client, to the applicant. Is that correct? That we
Yes,
don't have
that's correct.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. If there are no other questions, Roy, would you like to close this out, please?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion then to close the public hearing for Barbara Rosecan, located at 313 Kings Point Road, tax map number 300-024-01-8 until 2 weeks after the minutes of not the minutes, the
2 weeks.
Transcript.
transcripts are posted on the website. Couldn't think of that word for a second.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Second?
Concur.
I concur.
And I concur as well. Okay, thanks, Roy. Thank you, Susan. And excuse me, and Michael, thank you for your work on this. Okay, we will, and have a good evening, you all. We will move on with the agenda here. Next, we'll work on to our work session portion. We have a post hearing decisions. Next, we have the first is Jordan Daniel, and I'll read this in, and maybe one of the planners could pull this up if they would on the screen for us, if you would. Thank you. I'll read this in. The applicant here was, or is Jordan Daniel. The lot size and location is 4,042 square feet at 22 Abrams Path, Olympic Heights, extension section 3, Springs, tax map number 300-120-3-9. And the description here is to construct a 36 square foot bathroom addition on a parcel that already exceeds the maximum allowable building coverage. The relief sought one variance from 255-11-10 of the East Hampton Town Code of 70 square feet is required to allow an increase in building coverage to 878 square feet, where 808 square feet is allowed for a parcel of this size and any other relief necessary. This is in a B residence zone. The flood zone here is X, and the secret class is type 2. And Roy, if you could lead us off on this, please.
Sure, Mr. Chairman, as you said, this is a a 36 square foot bathroom addition to a house on a very, very small lot. The house is located in the front of the house, as you see on the survey. And the applicant, I must say, I enjoyed his candor. The applicant presented his case, and he was quite honest in with his presentation.
Mhm.
The house again is on a very constrained lot, 4,000 square foot and change property. On the face of it, the extension is a very, very tiny extension, but in 1971, there was a zoning board determination that ruled that in 1971 that they would not approve anything over 800 square feet. So therefore, we have, as a zoning board, we're confronted with this extension. On top of that, in 1982, the applicant received a building permit to construct 210 square foot addition and 160 square foot attached garage. At that time, there was an error that occurred, was 36, which resulted in the residence being 36 square foot over the building coverage, which was not picked up at that time. So therefore, the building coverage was 848, which was over this allowance of 808 square feet. I think we're faced with a decision of why it is today as whether to approve this addition if the 1971 application or the decision restricted the expansion of the house to 800 square feet. Taking into account that the house is over, the applicant presented I think a compelling argument to, based on today's standards of living and stuff which is different. And I have to be careful saying that, and I want to hear the other board members' discussion on this as well. I'm looking to approve it. I think if you go through the standards, which I will do, just close them out. Give me a second. So if we take a look at the standards, the first one is whether the grant of the variance will cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or will create a detriment to nearby properties. I think that the fact that this is a small addition will not affect the character of the neighborhood or the town as a whole. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. And in this case, I don't think so. I think it's a very modest addition. It's an addition that is in line with the house, so he's not from the street point. It's a very small addition to this house, and it will not appear as if the footprint of the house has grown much. It's in line with it, very narrow footprint. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, I say it is not as a minor variance. However, in consideration with the 1971 variance, it does exceed the coverage variances. And I know this board frowns on coverage variances, but this is a very small lot. It's smaller than the neighboring properties, and therefore, I mean, so I think in this case, the neighborhood already, it's within the allowable, in my opinion. Whether the grant of the variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood, and it does not impact that. And whether the difficulty causing the applicant to request an area variance was self-created. And obviously that question is a yes, but it doesn't affect that. So I'm looking to approve it. I'd also like to hear some of the board members on their take on the 1971 decision and how they view that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Roy. Ed, you want to take a pass
Yes,
at
thank
this?
you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate exactly what has been said by Vice Chair Deline. I think that looking at the standards, I don't believe it does violate, as he's reported, what we normally have to consider as our factors in deciding on an area variance. I don't think that it does in any way adversely affect the character of the neighborhood. I think the character of the neighborhood is already one where there is quite a bit of different types of construction going on. This is a very constrained lot. It's very small. There is a new IA system in the front, to the front of the building. And all of those lean towards approval. However, the 1971 board decision to allow no more than 808 feet has already gone beyond by 36 feet. So at this point, we're 36 feet beyond the previous board's measured decision. In reviewing that and considering that this is just another step forward in allowing us to get away from a previous board's, I think, thoughtful decision, I'm looking to deny this on the basis that I think that I want to show the kind of respect that's necessary by us, by this board, for the work that's been done by a previous board. And this lot is one that another request could be made at another time. Of course, a future board could deny it. I don't think I want to take this step forward in approving this and starting us down any kind of road that allows us to so clearly ignore what's been said before. I know that happens regularly. I know there are lots of changing factors. I know a lot goes on, but this is not a recent decision. It's been standing for very close to 50 years. I think that was an October decision. So this is something that's been out there. I think in purchasing the property, it was probably a limiting factor initially. And I think at this point, although I agree completely with the perspective from the vice chair, my decision would be instead to deny this application.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Terry?
Well, I feel the same way as my fellow board members. I do think in the proposed addition where it is, that perhaps it could be put somewhere else that doesn't increase the lot coverage area. But also going back to the 1971 decision and the mistake that happened subsequent to that, he's already over. A plus is that he had an IA system put in. I do have a concern when he testified that he had an IA system put in that could accommodate 5 bedrooms. And I guess that kind of, I don't understand why he would do that. I don't know if he's planning other things in the future as this comes on. I sympathize with him. He's got 2 bedrooms and 1 bath now. However, I think I would have to deny this also with concern to further development on it. It is only a 4,042 square foot lot.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Tim?
Wow, so this is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And I also am in agreement with everything that's already been said, which is to say I feel strongly both ways as well. Where I came down on this is that we're a board of relief. And so I'm very respectful of prior boards' decisions and determinations. But the reason this is in front of us is for relief. I think given the totality of this application, that I'm supportive of approving it. And I say that for 3 reasons. One is that this is an addition of a 2nd bathroom. So we're talking about a very modest home, very modest structure. Number 2, I know it's been discussed previously and both positively and negatively, but that the applicant has already updated the septic system. I view it as a positive attribute for the overall application. And then finally, the planning department's view on this weighs heavily in my decision. And specifically, they say that there are no environmental constraints in the property, and that the planning department does not hold a strong opinion on the matter. And so when I put those together, and given the modest nature of this, I believe that this does meet the standards as outlined by Member Daleen, and I'm looking to approve.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Yes, it certainly is an interesting conversation. And Ed and Board Member Berger, I appreciate your respect and your consideration of the former Zoning Board of Appeals decision on this. And as much as I appreciate that and understand that, I think on this specific application here, I am leaning towards approving it. I think Tim framed it fairly well, so I will not repeat that. But I think again here, considering the lot size, the character of the neighborhood, where this is located, the planting, the fact that it was. I thought, I agree with Roy. The gentleman did a nice job representing himself, and it was interesting that I believe he said he was one of the first to go and take advantage of the rebates and voluntarily upgrade his sanitary system. And we all know where this is across, very close to 3 Mile Harbor, where the town docks are there. So I think that is key. And I do not see this degrading the neighborhood. And it does seem, it's as far as the benefit to the applicant, I think on this one does outweigh the detriment to the neighborhood. So I am leaning towards approving this application. I'm not leaning towards, that's my opinion, I would be approving this. Any other comments, anyone? Anything? Or Nancy Lynn, are you?
I have what I need.
You
Thank
do? Okay. Okay. Thank you all. Let's move on. Next, we have East Hampton Gerard Point LLC, and maybe I'll ask the planning department if they could pull up the most current survey for this application. Thank you. I will read this in. This is the applicant here is East Hampton Gerard Point LLC. The lot size here and location, 48,327 square feet total at 22 Shore Road in Montauk-on-the-Sea, Section A, map number 2438, Amagansett, tax map number 300-131-8-7. Description is to construct a 3,165 square foot, 2-story residence with attached garage, retaining walls, 1,397 square feet of decking and covered decking, a 336 square foot swimming pool, a 319 square feet second story veranda, a new, new sanitary system, dry wells, and approximately 1,100 square foot driveway, lower level garage, and to clear approximately 13,676 square feet of beach vegetation within the town's jurisdiction of dunes and beach vegetation. The relief sought here is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-4-20 of the East Hampton Town Code is required for this application and any other relief necessary. This is in a B residence zoning district. The flood zone here is VE17 flood zone at AE and AE elevation 10, AE10 flood zone, and the secret class is type 2. And this is one that this board remembers very well, going all the way back to 2016. Excuse me. And it has been before this board since then in several iterations. We was first proposed a much larger project that was then, after the discussion was pulled before a decision was made. It then came back with another iteration, and that was voted down and a 4-1 decision. And now it has come back in another more reduced iteration than before. It's been a long road on this one here. This is, as we all know, it's spectacular, spectacular dune land out there. It is sandwiched between the White Sands. Excuse me 1 second, pardon me. Excuse me. It is sandwiched between an existing residence and the White Sands motel. You see from the survey. Let's see, is that a Lenny helping us out here? Lenny, maybe you could just bring the cursor down for those watching, the public watching, so they see where the White Sands Hotel is kind of, or motel, I guess it's, yeah. So you see where that extends down there. Yeah, that's far enough, great. On the upper right. And then if you could go back, Eleni, please, thanks. So this application has been, as I said, has been reduced. I wanted to pull up something here. Pardon me 1 second. It has been reduced again from the previous application. This board was very concerned with the scale of the project. We were concerned with the garage. We were concerned with the cut and fill. And we were concerned with the scale of the deck, the pool, and the house, and the massing of it. Unfortunately, I'm not finding my window. I apologize. Anyway, so sorry. I was trying to. Well, Eleni, would you mind pulling up also the revegetation plan while I look at this? While I look for my, I have too many things open on my screen, unfortunately. Thank you. There you see the revegetation plan that they are proposing. Sorry. Okay, I'm not going to be able to get that. There, now I have it. Great. Okay, so the current plan they've come up with now, and it's based on the latest survey, is the April 15th, 2019 last revision, was revised February 11th, 2021. And we have the revegetation plan as well, dated January 27th, 2021, revised February 8th, 2021. And again, the initial one was quite large that came in. The 2015, it came in, it was 4,320 square feet. And it really doesn't matter how big it was way too large as far as meeting the standards of this board. And therefore, again, that application was pulled. They came back again, as I mentioned earlier, with a reduction there of about, I believe it was reduced the GFA by 17%, and they went down to 3,602 square feet of GFA, and reduced the decking and the walkways also in that scheme right there. That was denied in December 6th of 2016 by this board, a vote 4-1, as I said. And the board felt that really that pardon me, minimizing the impacts to the dune and beach vegetation is the best strategy to protect these vital natural features. And therefore, we wanted to see the gross floor area and decking, et cetera, reduced. The 2020 plans that came back took another look at that, and they reduced the GFA by another 12% off the 2016 plans. And that brought it down to a 3,165 proposed, and proposed 1,397 square feet of decking plus the 319 square foot second floor veranda, and the pool was reduced down to 319 square feet. And the goal there to make the footprint more compact. And as you see here, it was reorganized, and I think in a thoughtful manner, considering where we were here, by pulling everything. Pardon me, Eleni, could you zoom in, please? I want to be able to, if you could show us the 24-foot contour. Great. Great. So you see, great. You see the coastal in the sort of the pink or the rose colored hatching is the coastal erosion hazard area line. And you see the 20-foot contour is in bold down South Ocean, a little seaward of that. Thank you, Eleni. And then Eleni, if you could go along the 24-foot contour, which is, well, it's actually meanders quite a bit. The 24 does. Yeah, you can see that. But basically, everything has been pulled north of that, and they did shift the building 10 feet closer to the street, and they've compacted managed to fit the sanitary system, the new IA system, obviously, between the street and the house. And I think it was prudent that they reduce the size of the pool and put the pool back in that little niche there, so that this is a compact square shaped footprint. They also have taken the garage that used to be attached, and now the garage is under this residence. That residence now formerly had concrete walls and basement space in the garage again. Now it will be on piling, except for some retaining walls to retain the garage area. So I think the applicants have listened to the board's needs here. Would I like to see the house and the deck smaller? Yes, I would. We probably all would, but I do feel that taking all of this into account, that this meets enough of the standards to get my opinion in approving this application after all of these iterations. So I'd like to stop at that for now and go around the table a bit. Tim Brenneman, would you like to take a pass at this?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I have to say that after our hearing, I was fully prepared to deny this application. And I'm appreciative of the revisions that have been made. I could still make an argument that the decision that this board made in 2016 still largely applies to this residence. I think you said they moved the building back 10 feet. I think they contracted it a total of 6 feet from the dune. And I don't know in the front that there was a change. So I'm missing on that part of it. I do appreciate the revisions that included the additional construction protocol, the removal of the retaining walls, the reduction, however slight, in GFA, deck areas, coverage, and clearing. But in the end, this is a very delicate area, a very beautiful area. And in my view, this is still a project that is too sprawling, that is too impactful to the dune for me to feel comfortable in saying that I believe it meets the standards. In fact, I do not think that it does. While crediting the applicant for the latest revisions, I just don't think they go far enough ultimately for us as it respects our standards. So I am going to deny this application.
Okay, thank you, Tim. I certainly appreciate that. Vice Chair Deline, what do you want to take it?
I'm going to, yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been part of all three of these applications, and I'm well aware of them. I do know that this particular property is of concern to our board as the previous two applications in the denial. That dune, that primary and secondary dune structure is is precisely what the town has set out to protect.
Mhm.
This property is a difficult property to do that. That being said, I'm not sure we can squeeze the lemon anymore here. I think that the applicant has shown a willingness to do the best they can to reduce the property, to pull it forward. They pulled the garage. I'm going to refer to the Tony Pasca letter of April 15, 2021, where he outlines the changes specifically in this. John, you are absolutely right. The concern of the previous applications was a 24 contour line, which I think they have respected. Again, any type of development on this property is a tough property. But I don't think that, although we can argue that this house could be reduced in size a little bit more, I think the respect for the property, for the conditions of the property, and for the board's previous concerns on the application hearings goes to us needing to approve this. And I think they have shown good faith in trying to meet that as best they can. So with that, I'm going to vote to approve this application.
Thank you. Thank you, Roy. I wonder if it wouldn't be helpful also, if whatever board members want, but maybe Eleni, you could pull up also the floor plans. It might be helpful just for those in the public who are viewing this as well. Kind of gives us a scale of the house that they're proposing and all, if you would, and then we can jump back whatever board members want when they're speaking.
Yeah, John, and I want to also say that I forgot one, an
Sure.
important point, that there are no variances here. They're not seeking variances. This is strictly now in our NRSP.
NRSP. Yes. That's great. Thanks, Eleni. Let's see. Terry, would you like to take a pass at this?
Yeah. I was also referencing the April 15th, 2021 document.
That's good, Eleni. Thank you. Pardon me, Terry.
And actually, I wanted to look at that 24 contour line. They did follow it as we suggested on the eastern side on the white
sands.
Oh no, white sands.
Yeah.
But as Eleni was following it around on the western side of it, it actually goes up and through where they have, I guess, a great room on the floor plan. And it's still, they still did not go north of the 24-foot on that side of the house as it meanders back in the other direction.
Yes.
But anyway, I feel that, the improvement, removing the garage and some retaining walls was good. Looking though at his document that the applicant sent in, the amount of change that they made for the hearing, I too was thinking, no way after that hearing. And with the submissions that they made subsequent to that, the garage is a good thing. Some of the additions to the construction, but the other amount that they pulled back really, to me, is not enough. They went from, they reduced things slightly from GFA 2988 to 2775. The pool, they had made smaller initially, but they left that the same, but they cut back on some of the decking and some of the stairways. However, I think this is still too aggressive a project for this property. Again, going back to the pristine quality of this dune and the natural resources that it contains. I was bothered, if you wanted to look at the floor plan now, I know it's a 4-bedroom house, and up in the area where they pulled back the deck, it's still a huge deck, and they have a great room over there that's still above the south of the 24-foot, at least partially contour line. And the other thing that bothers me about this is what I think the vista is going to be on it from the street when you just look at the north elevation. And I'm just concerned that this house is going to loom over the neighborhood and be out of character with it. I think that they need still to tighten this up, the floor plan and not the floor plan, but the footprint of the house and the overall construction of it. So I am looking to deny it.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Ed?
Ed, you're on mute.
Ed, is that on mute?
It's on mute.
Oh, there
Thank
you
you.
go. Hey, Ed, there you go, Ed.
Thank you. I also agree that the effort by the applicant to, remove the garage and the retaining walls was a positive. I think there was some reduction, but it's still a 2,775 square foot house. The pool decking is also, as is pointed out by Board Member Berger, still, a very large size given the site. I think the sprawling nature of it, of the project, is, as was mentioned by Board Member Brenneman, is a bother to me. I think that any visit to the site, which we all have done, lends you immediately to understand the care that has to be taken with this. And it is a difficult place to place a house. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be difficult to do things that do not cause damage. And I think from the effort of the applicant, this is a tough one. I think they've made some movement. But I'm particularly I think, can you go back to, is that A05 there? Oh, that is the front of the house. Okay. The massing problem that was brought up by Member Berger, the height to the ridge from the basic road face here is some 41 feet. I'm driving down the road looking up at a 40-foot house from Shore Drive. Other structures that have happened in the town always, to me, are a major mistake. Now, when we talk about the character of the neighborhood, there are many built structures here that have problems that we would not be look on very favorably. However, this is a large, looming house sitting in an elevation that's going to tower abnormally high in comparison to what we see in the neighborhood. Additionally, if we go to the standards and we look at 255-5-51, and which asks that no natural resource shall be degraded or placed in peril in order to establish a structure or a use for a particular parcel, I think we do put the primary and the secondary dune in an unnecessarily stressful position. I think the fact that this is towering above, it's not compatible with surroundings, which is 255-5-40. I appreciate the difficulty for the applicant to come up with an adequate design, but I feel, as two other board members do, Brenneman and Berger, that this is a large structure. It still takes a lot of space. With great sympathy for how difficult it is to do it, I still don't feel this is something in which I can approve. So I'm looking to deny this application.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ed. Certainly appreciate those comments. Council?
I'm
sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Roy.
In light of some of the previous denial and stuff like that, I just want to make sure that this board is consistent with what it's argued before. We've argued the natural resources. We're now segueing into size argument, and I'm concerned about that. So I'm just going to put that out there. And I'm concerned that I think this application has done, I don't disagree that the house might appear looming, but are we going to change our argument to denial to based on that rather than the consistency of the argument of the first denial, the previous denial?
Thank you, Roy. Yeah, I'll make one more comment too, and please, board members, this is what it's all about. Please feel free to make comments after I'm finished. To Roy's point, this application, and to all of your comments, I'm certainly in agreement. I would certainly prefer that this house be smaller, that the decking be smaller. But it comes to a point of, as Roy says, how much can we squeeze the lemon here and still, be maintaining the proper standards that we should be as far as making our decisions. As we all know, the planning department and this board always encourages two-story houses over single-story because obviously they're half the footprint or something like that, depending on the plans. So this applicant has done that. They also are not asking for any variances with regard to height or pyramid. Obviously, because I agree with Ed, it is all of these houses are looming along there when they are meeting both FEMA and are in the dunes. This lot as well, they are intending on doing this revegetation, where I think they are certainly looks like they're going to be well covered with the adjacent residents and with the white sands. It's kind of a parking lot down by the street there, as I recall, but and screening along the street hopefully is going to grow in. But again, this house is to Ed's point, is going to be visible. But I think it's a matter of how far we can ask the applicants to go here. But I appreciate all, I will stick with my opinion on this application. I appreciate all of your comments. And board members, any additional comments you wish to make?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to, I'd like to cite the 2016 determination that this board made. Incidentally, that determination also was an NRSP. There were no variances attached to that either.
Yeah.
And the paragraph that I was focused on during the hearing, and I continue to be focused on now, is as part of number 14, and it says, and it's, by the way, it's F14. This project does not satisfy the above criteria, which is the 255-550 language, as there were a number of viable alternatives discussed at the public hearing. Specifically, applicant can reduce the size of the residence that covers the dune and minimize accessory structures beyond the 24-foot contour line. This alternative will limit the diminishment and degrading of the dune and the beach vegetation. And so I just want to make it clear, my denial is not based on the size of the home, but rather the way this project is being situated in and its impact on that dune.
Thank you, Tim. Board members, any other comments?
No.
Yeah, I was commenting to myself. I agree with Member Brenneman on that. It's not just size, it's the impact to the dune, the impact to the natural resources, and it's that they, from 2016, I don't think that it's a significant enough difference from 2016, I think, to the revised plan from this year's decision.
Okay.
Preservation of the natural resources, things we quoted already.
All right. Well, considering the way it looks like the determination is going, I would be very pleased to see these applicants come back with a smaller house and a smaller deck myself, without a doubt. This is an incredibly sensitive dune, and I appreciate all of your comments and opinions. Anyone else wish to speak on this?
No.
No. Okay. Nancy Lynn, you think you have what you have here? Have what you need here? You have what you have. We know that.
What I have. No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all. And Eleni, thanks for your help on that. Okay. Next, we go to, we have other decisions, skipping down to item D on our agenda. We have Nigel Curtis at 393 Cranberry Hole Road in Amagansett, tax map number 300-128-1-28.2. And board members are very familiar with this. And we are dealing with a draft environmental impact statement here. And I wanted to ask Nancy Lynn, because we have a lot of public, hopefully thousands of folks watching our show this evening. And I thought this gets to be kind of complex stuff with SECRA here and with the environmental impact statements. And I wanted to ask council if she would kind of introduce what the options are and what the board is going to be deciding this evening, if you would, Nancy Lynn.
To give you a little background, as the board knows, we received the first draft environmental impact statement at the end of last year, or I believe January. And we found some inadequacies with that. I say we, the board found some inadequacies with that. As per the statute, documented those deficiencies, returned it to the applicant to make revisions, and gave a deadline. There was a deadline of April 1st. They at some point did request a little bit more time so that they could get a survey in to April 15th, I believe. We had, I will take blame for not getting that before the board, the request for additional time. We had it come in and meant to ask you, I thought I talked with you about it, but I have reviewed our minutes and our meetings during the time that it came in, and it's not in any of our records, but they did request additional time. They did submit the second draft. It has been reviewed by the planning department, which have noted that there still are some deficiencies that are of concern. The question now is what do we do next? And so right now, our decision, we have to do, we have until we need to do one of these things, prepare one of these things for adoption on June 8th, our next meeting. We can, again, detail the deficiencies in a letter to the, well, first, that's that if the board finds that they disagree with the planning department's analysis and find that there are no deficiencies, then you can accept the DES and we move on from there. So that is option one. Second, if you agree that there are deficiencies, you agree with the planning department that there are deficiencies, you have two options. One is to repeat the process that we did back in January, detail those, return them to the applicant with a new deadline to have those back to the board. And then the other option is one that the SECRA process provides, that there may be times when no matter how many times you send it back, it's not going to be sufficient for the lead agency. And in those situations, it can be accepted with the lead agency's criticisms. And those criticisms can be detailed in the acceptance, and they are also reiterated during the public comment process, and would be resolved during the public comment process when the lead agency ultimately writes the final EIS, because the final EIS is a product that's actually drafted by this board and not by the applicant. As you recall, the reason for the EIS, the reason we did scoping, all that, is to get the issues that are of concern on this project, on this proposal, narrowed down so that the discussion on what the potential environmental aspects or effects of this project can be fully discussed, not only by the lead agency, but by the public and any other interested agencies in deciding whether or not it meets the SECRA standards to be able to be approved. So we are not at that stage right now. Right now, what we are at the stage is to determine, do we have enough in front of us to set it up for a public hearing and move forward, or do we need to go back to the applicant to do some additional work on it? And once that's completed, go forward with the public comment and the public hearing on it, to then have enough information and evidence presented before the board in order to draft the final EIS, which will be what the board makes a determination of whether or not this project can be approved or not.
Okay.
Three options. accept with criticism, or send back for revisions.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy Lynn. I appreciate that. This is in my Amagansett district, so I will go ahead and comment first on this one here. Board members, I know we've all received the DEIS, and you have also received, and by the way, Brian Frank is with us tonight, by the way, if anyone has any questions or needs anything answered from Brian. I'm referring also, board members, to Brian's May 21st, 2021 memo to this board with regard to the planning department's completeness review of this draft environmental impact statement. That is dated April 22nd, 2021. And for those listening, this is out at 393, again, 393 Cranberry Hole Road. And my take on this is, I as much as I agree with, and I appreciate Brian's analysis of this resubmission, and as much as I agree with his memo on the deficiencies in this draft environmental impact statement, I am of the opinion that we should move forward with the option whereby these can be picked up it can be picked up in the future, as Nancy Lynn has outlined in her synopsis of our options this evening. We will be having the public hearings. There will be time to do this, and this has been going on a long time. And I'm afraid if we kicked it back to the applicants and they still weren't quite getting it right, it just keeps kind of the expression kicking the can down the road here, or the sandbags down the beach, pardon the bad pun, but it's just, I think, I'm not sure how the board feels, but I feel we should move forward with this. And the fact that we have the tools to make this final impact statement as thorough as we wish before it's approved gives me comfort in going with that option. I'd like to hear what others of you have to say. Ed, you want to take a pass at this? And Johan?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'll have, when we have an open hearing, having visited the site and looked at the conditions, have many comments for the hearing. But relative to the DEIS at this point, I have two particular questions to raise. One is that in, section 4A, item 3, page 11, in their thing, that the geocube structure at 401 Cranberry Hole Road, that's immediately east of the project 393, also has geocubes surrounding it. And in a reference there saying how successfully they had prevented damage during winter storms. It says the geocube structure at Cranberry Hole has no noticeable repairs since construction. I think that's an inaccurate assessment of what's gone on there in the site. I'm to understand it. I think that they've had to do repairs. So when doing an analysis here, I think part of what they're asking us to notice is not accurate. And then I also think that on page 11, let me just find that. That was 11. Page 14, rather, of the same document, it says, although the geocube structure was exposed in 220, no apparent impacts to adjacent property owners has been recorded. No scouring is occurring at the ends of the presently exposed structure. I visited the site. There is noticeable scouring going on. And so if we want to move forward with this, we have to understand that the conditions in the field are somewhat at variance from the ones that are put in the DEIS. There are many other areas that can be possibly discussed as to the absolute scientific validity. That could wait till a hearing. But certainly those two jumped out at me because I think that when you are in the presence of that wall of geocubes, you see that there definitely is the potential for them to not be something that's going to hold up over a long period of time, and that they are causing some corollary damage to neighboring properties. Those are 2 points I'd like to make.
Okay. Thank you, Ed. Tim?
Mr. Chairman, I'm in agreement with your assessment, and it's really just a pragmatic choice here, and that is that it seems to me that we can do both things. We can accept this while still identifying all the areas where it's lacking, and at the same time move the process forward. And I don't mean to say we accept it, but we accept it from the standpoint that we start to move the process forward, we move the ball, and at the same time we identify the areas that we think need additional work before there's actually a hearing. And if we don't do that, then it's just, to me, additional time, and the environmental impact of these structures are such that I think that does the town harm. So my view would be, of the three choices, accept with criticism and move the process forward.
Thank you, Tim. Terry? You're on mute, Terry. Terry, you're on mute.
Okay, did that work?
Yeah.
Now you're on.
Okay, well, I went through, the choices that we had as addressed by Nancy Lynn, and read the DEIS. I too, looking at the options, accepting it, I do not, number one, is not acceptable. I do find that there are deficiencies in the DEIS, much of which the planning department also addresses in that, and the items brought up by member Johan. I too, to resubmit it as inadequate and return it to the applicant gives me the same concerns that the previous members have stated. I think it won't get it does give more time before we would have something back. And I too would like to move this thing forward. So I am in agreement about item number 3, accepting it as long as we can state that we believe deficiencies exist and enumerate those deficiencies. And I have a bunch of them. The things already mentioned, and then there are differences in the DEIS than were stated at the hearing back in 2018. That is a valid factor, isn't it? Looking for guidance on that. There were things that were stated at the hearing by both First Coastal and the agent for the applicant that
It's
are worded differently in the DEIS.
It's a deficiency if it's not appropriately explained, so that it's a change from it. It's okay for them to have a change in it. A deficiency would be that it wasn't explained why their position is changed from the hearing to the DEIS. So that would be the criticism, is that they've made a change in position without explanation.
Okay, then there are deficiencies that I have listed from that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Roy?
Yeah, I don't know if I can add too much more to this discussion. I think that everybody stated it properly. I agree with the planning department's assessment of the deficiencies. I believe there are deficiencies, but again, and I think we need to move forward on it. So I'm in agreement with the rest of the board.
Okay. Thank you, Roy. Any other comments, board members?
So what happens now?
So what happens now is I'll take the information that was in the memorandum from the planning department, as well as what was raised by member Johan. Terry, if you could send me an email tomorrow with where you see the changes between the public hearing and the DEIS, and I will incorporate those in, and then I will, and if anyone has any others that have not been mentioned, you get that to me, and then I will circulate that statement to everyone prior to our June 8th meeting, and way before, since we have a week off. I'll get it out to you, and you can add or comment on that, and then when we have it to an acceptable format, we can adopt that on June 8th.
Okay, now some of what I'm talking about may not relate to just one specific item in the DEIS, but it's a pattern that carries
Yes.
through the
Yep.
entire thing. Okay.
Yep, that I'll be able to put that into words that work in our concerns. Yep.
I'll just mail you this piece of paper. Maybe you could figure that out. Okay.
Okay.
You want to discuss anything else? I don't know.
Council, anything else? Or are we,
On that note, we're good. We do have the next item on our agenda as well.
Yeah, we took that, right? Good.
Did you want to-
Okay, I'll just say thank you for Nancy Lynn and to Brian Frank for all of his work and their work on this application. Okay, next we'll move on. The next decision we have is Hamburger is the applicant at 12 Sandpiper Lane in Amagansett, tax map number 300-175-4-6.1. And a request here has been received from the applicant's agent to leave the record open for 8 weeks once the transcript has been received and posted to the town's website. And the applicant in that letter states that they had listened to the board's comments and wish to work on some revisions to their project. This is in my Amagansett district, and I'll start off by saying I have no problem with giving the applicants this extension of time. Hopefully a much better application will be the result of that. Board members, your comments?
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too.
I'm good.
Mr. Chair, I think that given the sensitive nature of the project and the number of items we listed in our hearing, I think it's absolutely appropriate to give them the additional time to make a presentation.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Thank you all. Okay, next we'll move on to, let's see, we have extensions of time are down at the bottom. Well, we have the minutes, the draft minutes of May 18th, 2021. I read these and they looked fine to me. Do I have a motion, board members, to approve the draft minutes of May 18th, 2021?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals for East Hampton from May 18th, 2021.
I'll second that.
I'll concur.
Okay, thank you,
I
Tim.
concur.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Thank you all. Great. Okay, now we'll go on to the resolutions here. I wonder, Eleni, or if someone in the planning department could pull these up as we get to them. If you have them available on your desktop, that would be great. I'll start reading off here. We have CBES LLC at 63 Shipwreck Drive in Amagansett, tax map number 300-152-2-8.33 and 8.34. Does anyone in the planning department have that they could pull up on the screen?
I
Kyle,
don't know the resolution. I can try to pull up the
I have them
aerial.
prepared. I can pull them. I can share my screen and pull them up.
Yeah, could you? That'd be great, Kyle. Thank you. That way we can all have them in front of us here. Okay, so thank you. Thanks, Kyle. And maybe if you could get ready with the other ones, if you could pull those up as we move along, that would be great. So you see, board members, that this here is this determination was dated in 2018, and they are looking for an extension of time to obtain a building permit for 1 year. Again, this is in my Amagansett district, and I am fine with approving this extension. Comments, board members?
Same here.
I'm fine with it.
Same here.
Me too.
Okay, so therefore I make a motion with regard to CBAS Acquisitions LLC, tax map number 300-152-2-8.33 and 8.34 to approve the extension, the resolution extending determination.
Second?
Concur.
I'll concur.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Kyle. If you could pull the next one up, we have Gregory Mansley. And this again is an extension of time, a resolution extending the determination here. And this is in, this goes back to 1992. This one here, and they're looking for, pardon me, the request of the extension goes back to, the expiration date back then was 1995, and then we have a 2021 February 24th date. This is at 305 Shore Road in Amagansett, and they are looking for an extension again here to obtain a building permit. I am as well, this is in Amagansett, and I'm fine with extending this for this resolution extending determination to approve it.
This is for a permit from 92. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
You approved it at the April 27th meeting. We discussed it.
Yeah, and these are Nancy Lynn is, or these have been written up. We're just approving these determinations now.
Yeah, okay, I'll second it.
Board
I
members?
make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I did not. My
Oh, you didn't
apologies.
mention that. I thought he did. I'm sorry.
I apologize. It sounded almost like one, but I make a motion with regard to Gregory Mansley /Daliva at tax map number 300-84-3-11 to approve the resolution extending determination.
Second.
I concur.
Okay, Ed, I think I heard concur. Okay, thank you all. Next, we'll move on to Mac at 132 Navy Road in Montauk. And this is 132 Navy Road, Montauk, tax map number 300-26-1-9.1. Again, we have already discussed this, and this is a resolution extending determination. Let's see, Terry, was this you who did this initially?
Yeah, originally back in 2018. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a request for an extension of time, the original determination February 6, 2018. And I have no problem with the extension of time. I'd like to approve it. So I guess
Go
I
for
would
it.
make the motion.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
To accept the resolution extending the extension of time for Nancy Mack at Suffolk County Tax Map 300-026-01-9.1 at 132 Navy Road in Montauk.
Second.
Okay, I concur.
Concur.
And I concur. Okay, thanks, Terry. Next, we'll move on to Hake at 81 Northwest Landing Road in East Hampton, tax map number 300-90-3-13. And Tim, you want to go ahead and take this one, Tim?
Sure. So I'll make a motion for Christopher Hake at Suffolk County Tax Map 300-90-3-13 at 81 Northwest Landing Road in East Hampton to approve the extension of time.
Second.
Concur.
I'll concur.
And I concur as well. Okay, thank you, Tim. Thank you all. And Kyle, thanks for your help there. Let's see, council, anything else on your end?
I don't have anything else on the agenda.
Okay,
Reminding everyone they have next week off.
yeah,
I like that.
Happy Memorial Day, guys.
there we go. Let the summer begin.
Memorial Day. That's weird.
Let the summer begin. Okay. Vice Chair Deline, I think we just need a motion from you.
Sure, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing of the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals for Tuesday, May 25th at 8:19 p.m.
Second.
I concur.
I concur.
And I concur as well. Okay, thank you all. Board members, Nancy Lynn, Brian, Eleni, Kyle, and LTV. We made it. Have a good Memorial Day weekend.
Have a nice weekend, everyone.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Be safe one,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thanks. Take care, Brian. Bye-bye.
Night.